Hi everyone, Jordan from ENTTEC here. Over the past couple of months we've been covering LED tape projects and some of the more hands-on techniques that you'll need to know before getting stuck in. We've talked about soldering, connectors, wires, and more recently safety. What we want to do now is we want to start shifting our focus to the control side of things. How do we actually control our tape installations? And how do the approaches differ between pixel and constant voltage projects? This is a pretty big topic overall, so we're going to tackle this with bite-sized chunks. Now, for the purposes of today's video, we're going to be tackling how DMX interacts with more conventional lighting fixtures so that we can give you a good conceptual framework before tying everything together in future episodes. DMX512, or simply DMX, is a lighting control protocol developed back in the 80s to help standardize stage lighting control. And there have been a few revisions since then. DMX is broken up into control units called universes. And each DMX universe consists of 512 channels, hence DMX512. Each channel has a minimum value of 0 and a maximum value of 255. If you're familiar with binary, this means that each channel contains 8 bits of data. The easiest way to think of a DMX universe is as a bank of faders, with 512 faders in total. Each fader is one DMX channel. With DMX, one universe requires, at minimum, one DMX cable run. So, if you've got 4 universes in a show, you'll need 4 cable runs. Cabling comes in the form of impedance-matched 5-pin or 3-pin XLR. We'll talk a little bit more about the features and limitations of each choice in a future video. So how does a DMX channel actually control our fixture or our LED tape? If we have a standard RGB stage fixture, like the one in front of me, red, green, and blue will be assigned to channels 1, 2, and 3 respectively. If I increase the fader on channel 1, my red LEDs will brighten, and if I increase the fader on channel 3, my blue LEDs will brighten. I can slide these channel faders around individually or together to mix colors and achieve a desired output. Like I mentioned before, each fader has values ranging from 0 to 255. Basically, these values just represent fractions of intensity. 0 is nothing or 0 intensity, and 255 is full intensity. So each fader has 255 increments of adjustment. It's worth noting as well that DMX can be used for more than just dimming. In the case of, say, a moving head fixture, DMX can be used to adjust the pan and the tilt settings of the fixture. In this instance, 0 might denote the unit panning all the way to the left, and 255 might mean the unit pans all the way to the right. As well as this, some fixtures might use 2 channels or 16 bits of data to increase the increment range of a certain parameter. This will provide you with a fine and a coarse adjustment, and it means our increment range is now 0 to 65,535. This is a massive amount of adjustability. This sort of feature is more commonly used on moving head type fixtures, so we don't really need to worry about too much here, but it's worth noting to get the whole picture. DMX can come from a variety of sources, from small, cheap, analog consoles that can only control a few channels in a universe, to massive digital consoles that can run fully automated shows and control many, many universes. There are also pieces of lighting software available on Mac and PC that can output DMX through pieces of hardware like our DMX USB Pro and our ODE Mark II. You may have noticed that the fixture that we've demonstrated only uses 3 of a possible 512 channels in our universe. This means that we still have another 509 channels available to us to use with other fixtures. We can control other fixtures in a universe by incorporating techniques known as daisy chaining and addressing. Most lighting fixtures have a DMX in and a DMX through port. This allows each lighting fixture to receive a DMX signal, but also pass the same signal down the line to allow other fixtures on the universe to be controlled. So if all the DMX data on a universe passes through a fixture, how does a fixture know which channels to listen to and which ones to ignore? Well, each DMX fixture is given an address. The address can be the same or different to other fixtures, which means if you want a whole bunch of fixtures on one run to do the exact same thing, then what you can do is you can address them in the same way. This means you can save precious DMX data on your universe for other fixtures. The way addressing works is simple. Let's say we have a run of our 3-channel RGB fixtures. The address of each fixture is the same as the first channel of data you want them to listen to or receive. So, our first fixture will have an address of 1, which means it uses channels 1, 2, and 3. The second fixture will be assigned address 4, which means it uses channels 4, 5, and 6. The third fixture will be addressed 7, and so on. Okay, so we've covered a lot today regarding how DMX is structured and used by different fixtures. But there is a little bit more to cover before you start getting stuck into running your own DMX lines. So let's have a quick recap of what we've covered this week. There are 512 channels per DMX Universe. Each channel has increments of 0 to 255, which equates to 8 bits of data per channel. Each fixture will use an amount of channels depending on its capability. There are many different sources of DMX, including analog and digital consoles, as well as software solutions. And finally, DMX devices can be daisy-chained and addressed so you can better utilize all 512 channels of data per universe. And that's it for today's video. Like, share, and subscribe if you found this video useful. Comment if you have any questions or you think there's something that we missed. Please don't forget to check out our social media channels and stay tuned for more DMX and more helpful ENTTEC tips.